Alright guys, so today I'm going to be showing you a really good versatile build for Sharon. She's somebody that I've had a lot of community members tell me was good, but I didn't realize how good she was until I actually built her. I would say she is on my top tier of Descendants that I think everybody should have. And previously I only used her for outposts, which is kind of disappointing. But having said all that, let's hop into the video. So the first thing we're going to look at on Sharon is actually the Blue Beetle. This is one of those weapons that you really need to have when it comes to Sharon. The unique perk on this synergizes so well with her kit that it's almost impossible to use any other gun when you're doing general mobbing or a lot of her different skills. So I would highly advise you go ahead and pick this gun up. So when it comes to the cores on this weapon, you can put basically whatever you want on it because it's just a stat stick. Me personally, I would go ahead and put sprint speed in the yellow core, and I would put sprint speed in the rainbow slot. Other than that, it doesn't really matter what you put on this because you're not going to be shooting this gun ever. For her secondary weapon, I would go ahead and slot in ATAM. This gun is going to be putting in a lot of work when it comes time to shoot bosses and Colossus. The build we're going with here is more of a universal build, and it's not something that's highly specialized to only take on one Colossus or one type of boss. And I personally like that for something like this, which is just a very general, hard-hitting build. So because of that, we're going to go ahead and put one firearm attack core in it, one firearm crit hit damage core, and 2 sprint speeds. And those sprint speeds are really just a quality of life. When it comes to the rolls on this, we are going to try to stack in as much damage as we can. We're going to go with firearm attack, weak point attack, firearm crit hit damage, and bonus damage versus Colossus. That's going to really help when it comes to trying to get those Colossus put down in a single shot. When it comes to the roll on this weapon, we're going to keep with this very general theme. We're not going to specialize this into any one particular element. We are going to do a lot of weak point damage, a lot of critical hit damage, and then we're going to follow up with a little bit of reload time just to help you out and make things feel a little bit better, and then we're going to round it off with just pure firearm attack. Now there are some times when you're running with teams and you find that they just kill things way too quick for you to set up with a sniper. There's nothing really wrong with that, so we are going to go ahead and slap a shotgun on this build because shotguns still do very well with Sharon. So for this, I'm going to go ahead and use my Smithereens. This was built for Void Erosion 30, so that's what it's cored out for. We do have firearm crit hit damage, firearm attack, and we've got a couple yellow cores. You can do whatever you want here for quality of life. In the final purple core on here, we did put a faction type, but again, this was mainly for Void 30. You can leave the faction type off here and it's not going to matter. When it comes to the rolls on this weapon, we're just adding a bunch of damage. We're doing firearm attack, firearm crit hit damage. We are going to go ahead and scale into that faction bonus a little bit more. It's not going to help you in many other things. That was mainly a Void 30 thing. You can put something else there if you want. And then we did go ahead and put chill attack on this weapon. So as you can see, again, this was built out for Void Erosion 30, so it does have a lot of crit damage. It has a little bit of element damage. It has a little bit of base damage, and we do have extra rounds and extra round capacity. That was just to make sure that we could use this to chunk the bosses down in that harder content. If you're looking for a budget build on this, I would say you could probably go ahead and knock off the extended weapon charge and the extra ammos just to save you a few extra catalysts. Now when it comes to Sharon's reactor, this is something close to what you're going to want. We do go ahead and have a scout rifle on here as the mounted class because we will be holding the Blue Beetle in our hand. You do want it to be a matching type, and we really want it to be fusion. Now when it comes down bottom, that's where you can change things up. Personally, I would like to get rid of the electric skill power boost ratio for skill crit hit damage, but unfortunately I've not been lucky enough to get that. If you can get that, definitely slot it in there and you're just going to see your numbers go up even higher. For the components, we're going to use the normal tried and true Slayer set. We love this. It gives us a bunch of extra MP recovery, lets us use our skills, lets us do more skill damage. All in all, this is a great set to have. You're definitely going to want to go with max MP and MP recovery on anything you can get it on. And then down on the processor, you're just going to want to go with max shield and shield recovery. So for the inversion reinforcement, what we're going to be looking at is RK circulation tactic, biodensity augmentation, and adrenaline rush. The reason we like RK circulation tactic is because it gives us faster cooldown on our skills, and that is always a win-win when it comes to help keep uptime on our 4. Biodensity augmentation is just a nice quality of life thing. The more things we kill, the more HP we have, and the more HP we have, the harder we are to kill. So this is just a nice thing, especially because you can find yourself leading the charge. And if you do, you're going to be taking a lot of damage from a lot of different areas. And then finally, we're ending with Adrenaline Rush just for that boost of speed. This isn't really adding much to her kit other than movement speed, and we do like to have that extra movement speed so we can just fly around the battlefield. Now, when it comes time to do Colossus, you will want to take Adrenaline Rush off, and you will want to replace it with an attribute round. The type of rounds you're going to want to use is going to depend on which Colossus you're fighting. Make sure you put on the type that Colossus is weak to, just to help you get those easy one-shots. Now, when it comes to Sharon's trees, I'm actually going to give you two separate trees, and I would suggest you set both of them up. The first tree is for her mobbing part of her build. When you're using her force skill, this is the build that I would suggest you go with. This is a hybrid tree that gets you a lot of good things for your skills, and then finishes up by giving you a little bit of a bonus for your weapons. And those bonuses for your weapons are going to make it to where when it comes time to clear dungeon bosses or Sigma Sector bosses, that you're able to still put in a bunch of damage and feel very, very impactful. The second tree is what I would suggest you use when it comes time for you to go head to head and try to one-shot the Colossus. This is really going to lean hard into weapon damage and is going to make sure that Sharon gets the most out of your ATAMs and make sure you're hitting those crispy one-shots. Do keep in mind that you will not always hit 100% on your crit rate, and there will be times that the crits aren't in your favor and you don't get those big numbers. You will be sitting at around 90+%, so it shouldn't happen very often, but every once in a while it will happen. When it comes to the dog for Sharon, I would definitely use the Vesper hunting dog. And the reason we're doing this is going to allow you to stockpile a lot of heavy ammo for your sniper before you get to the end of any round or match. This is going to make sure that you're able to hit those big numbers outside of when you're mobbing. Now, the Vesper hunting dog is not entirely required, but if I have to pick between the two dogs, this is the dog that I would put on Sharon. So when it comes to Sharon, these are the mods that we're going to use. We're really going to try to get our cooldown as low as possible and our crit damage as high as possible. We're going to be spamming this skill and we want to make that happen. On top of that, we are going to slap on MP Collector to help us with any MP issues we have. And then our red mod here is Area Suppression, which is giving us the ability to spin to win. When it comes time to go after the Colossus, I would go ahead and switch out my red mod for Ambush, and I would switch out my MP Collector for Shot Focus. This isn't going to cost you any more catalyst than what you've already invested, but it will make it a lot easier for you to hit those big numbers and take those Colossus out with a single easy one-shot kill. Alright, so the basic use of this is going to be pretty easy. All we're going to do is just spam R4. The more critical hits we get with R4, the faster the cooldown is, and then with our inversion reinforcement, we have a chance to get the cooldown even faster. As you can see, you're doing a ton of damage to everything on the screen. Now, one thing to keep in mind here is that we're not actually killing things, so we're not getting any MP back. When you're doing this out in the field, like you'll see in the B-reel, you will be getting your MP back, which will make it to where you can keep 100% uptime on your 4. So if you do have a pesky yellow bar that's still alive after your spin to win, and you want to take them out quick, the easiest way to do this is with a nice 1-4 combo. We're going to go ahead and go invis and hit them with the 1 and then immediately follow up with the 4. As you can see, this is an insane amount of spike damage, and most yellow bars in the game will not be able to survive this. And then the last thing to note is when you do get to the end of the match and you do see the final boss, pull out your sniper, let it go blue, and then headshot. You're going to hit big numbers, and you will, in most cases, one-shot the boss into the next phase. So now we're going to talk about what to do before you fight a Colossus. Don't forget, you need to swap your build out, you need to change your Adrenaline Rush for an ammo type, and you need to switch your arcade tree to the bossing tree. After you've done all that, you are set up and it's time to start killing Colossus. All we're going to do here is go invis and shoot for a weak point. We're going to let our bar fill up to blue, and once we do, we're going to pop that weak point. And as you can see, we easily took Gluttony down with a single shot to the knee. Alright guys, And that's everything you need to know about Sharon. She is becoming one of my favorite characters, and I really like her ability to go from mobbing to fighting Colossus with very little tweaks. But let me know what you guys think down in the comments. If you guys enjoyed the content, consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel for more First Descendant content, as well as other game coverage in the future. And if you want to be part of the community, consider coming over and watching us live on Twitch. We stream 5 days a week, and we would love to have you there and have you as part of the community. But having said all that, thanks for watching and have a great day.